I'm asking for incorporating an election specialist to meet the increasing demands of election community throughout Michigan have incorporated this position and election specialists to manage the logistics and ever-changing procedures of legal changes. Incorporating an election specialist into the clerk's office in Van Buren Township addresses the increased workload and adds cohesion to the election process. It's also provided an opportunity for the deputy clerk to focus on overall office operations, especially projects and much needed community outreach. The position is election specialist, Department Clerk's Office, regular full-time, non-exempt. I would like this position to be non-exempt because of the duties that it's going to pertain. It's going to under the supervision of the township clerk or my designee. The position focuses on election process in the clerk office in accordance with the State of Michigan Bureau of Election and Michigan election laws. This is a highly visible and crucial position requiring exceptional computer, customer service, and communication skills. This is the election specialist job duties. I've also put a copy in each of you our box, or I can send you a PDF if you would like. Coordinate the duties, coordinate all election process, schedule, workflow to meet deadlines, oversee voter, the maintenance of the qualified voter file, order all supplies needed for election, prepare training manuals, coordinating and training of election workers. We're always in the process of updating training manuals because things are constantly changing. And the more update they are, the better we can train our workers and keep them trained to anticipate upcoming elections. Manage equipment maintenance schedules, prepare for and participate in election audit, oversee election publications, prepare schedule, participate in ballot testing, public accuracy election commission meeting, maintain election records in accordance with the state Michigan retention schedule, design flyers, social media announcement, pamphlets, and candidate filing packets, code all election equipment. And like I said, I'm going to put a copy of this in your box so you can verify it. The 2021 proposed staffing that I'm proposing is, of course, the clerk, the deputy, accounting coordinator, election specialist, bookkeeper, and account clerk. This will add one person to the elections to the clerk office. Like I said, it's not unprecedented because this is probably one of the only offices that hasn't, except for the treasury office, that hasn't added a personnel to it, even though the changes are ever changing in this department. Also, I also want to bring attention to this, something that never comes up, reimbursements. The clerk office does get reimbursements, depending on how designated by the state, depending on what election we run and how the state designate these reimbursements. For example, this year, for the March election, last week, I received a check for $43,246.76. This pretty much covers, it covers the election clerk's salary and portions of another one. We're going to get reimbursement for the supplies and envelopes that we spent for $3,400, the PPE for $2,000, and we anticipate a reimbursement of the equipment that we purchased to incorporate a third AV counting room, which we bought another high-speed tabulator, and we also bought the adjudication software for it. We anticipate $25,646 to come back via the state because of that, with a total of $74,272 reimbursement for this year that's anticipated. We pretty much get reimbursements every year. Last year, and I'm sure if you remember, and late last year we got, just for that election that we ran, for the election of 11/15/19, got a reimbursement for that with $25,581. For the August election, we got $2,126 back. For the Washington special election, we got $2,020 back. In 16, we got $30,060 back from state reimbursement. Pretty much these reimbursement comes back, but they're never been accounted. I mean, they're accounted for, but it's never been talked about because these are things that we have to we put in for. Is depending on what kind of accurate record keeping we keep in order to get these reimbursements back. This year's the biggest reimbursement I received is because of Brittany of coordination of keeping account of every penny that we spent on the elections, which is it's a hard task to do if you don't have anyone that's designated to do it with everything else you have to do. But she kept a schedule of everything we spent and we submitted it, not thinking that we would get everything back, but as you see, we got everything and more, 43,246, which is unprecedented, as high as I've received for one election. And that was a March election. So I just wanted to bring that into account when I asked for a this position to be added to my department. Also, I want to put the end to a myth. There's no such thing as an off election year. I've been the clerk. This is my 12th year in election. That's the clerk. I've had an election every single year that I've been in office. And Joanne had told me that she had one since 2004, since she's been here every single year. So there's no such thing as an off election, and we have to do the same thing is required, no matter what election it is. I have to set it up where I'm offering every registered voter the opportunity to vote, whether they vote or not. I have to offer them that opportunity to vote. So it's the same process, the same workload as if a general or maybe we know more people come out to vote, but we have to do the same thing every election as if it's a general or a federal election. So I ask for you guys' consideration in looking at this and affording me an opportunity to add a specialist, election specialist to my budget. Was already in the budget, there's not a line item for it. It's already accounted for. It wouldn't cost any more monetary value. I could cover it under the election wages that I currently have. I just like to specify it in a line item of its own, and the appropriate fringes would also cover it also. So that presents that recommendation that I'm asking for. I'll also go ahead and finish that budget, which is the let me see, let me get off of this. Okay. Wow. I'm more technologically advanced than I think I am, huh? So we go on down to office supplies and the clerk office line item, which is
Probably gonna have to talk about that last thing for a little bit.
Go ahead.
I mean, this is the time, I guess, to talk about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So tell me, what is the process for forming up a thing? Do you have to go to the union and ask them?
No, because I'm not changing anything. The account clerk position is going to be, it's going to be already going to be filled by Darnay. Darnay will slide into the account clerk position. I've had conversation with them with them already. There's really nothing to talk about unless I was changing the account clerk position to something different. I'm requesting that the current Darnay be in the position of an account specialist, election specialist, and Darnay be put in fulfill the account clerk position, which still will satisfy the union. It's not taking anything away from the current staffing of the union.
But you want to put Brittany out of the union.
Well, yes, she would be coming out of the union.
And what pay were you going to pay?
Budget implication would be $6,000.
It's
Well,
gotta be more than that because now you're gonna have 2 full-time clerks in there. It's gotta be more than $6,000.
no, I mean, her schedule would be 45/8, I think, yeah, 45/8.
If we give her a raise, I have 8
Year,
that want raises that I'm going to ask for raises for.
that's a 3-year, account clerk, 2021 wage would be 45/8. So I'm asking to take this up to 51/8, which would be
Take it
$6,000.
up to what?
51.
I'm sorry, what did you want to take it to?
51/8,
You
51/8,
want to make it 51/8?
yeah.
So
But
you
I'm
want to
not-
give her a $1,000 raise?
But that would come out of the 119 wages. That would just slide up from the 119, election office wages.
You want to give the new position $6,000?
Yes, that's the.
I personally don't believe it ought to come out of the union. I don't mind you changing the title. I don't think it should come out of the union. I can't believe the union won't fight it because there's nothing she does that is confidential or anything else, which is why they've let people out of the union. I do not believe in this. I do not believe. I don't mind the position. I just don't think it should come out of the union, and I think it's wrong.
Trustee Moore,
It stays in the union share, then it had to be negotiated, and then it's not controlled by me, it's controlled by the union. That's my.
No, it's not.
No,
It's wrong, and I've said that ever since you brought it up. I don't think it's right. I think they'll fight it anyway. They'll grieve it.
Can't come out of the union.
We've lost before when they've done
Yeah.
that because it wasn't confidential.
It's not in the union. It's a.
I know, and if you take, yes, and they will fight it because it's an account clerk position. She's got a few more responsibilities, but not enough to pull her out of the union, and they will fight it.
I think it's our right to create a position as we see.
No.
It's just like.
Well, you know what? I'm going to create one in my department too, because I've got an account clerk that does more and she helps out Sean. So I'm going to bring a specialist in and give her $6,000 raise. So that'll be in my budget.
I have a question, if I may. So the additional duties, isn't your office confidential? Leon, aren't people that, and maybe I don't know all the intricacies of your office, Leon, but if people vote and she's the election clerk, aren't those votes confidential as to how people vote generally?
She doesn't know she doesn't know either.
She wouldn't-
Nobody,
you wouldn't know how they
your
voted.
account clerks don't know how they,
So isn't my whole point though isn't that confidential?
no,
No,
because
So People, the way people vote isn't confidential?
It is confidential.
yes.
It is, but nobody,
sees that though. Nobody sees it until they give it. to the
they don't
council.
see it. They
Until
don't see
it's counted.
No, they don't see
So
it.
why, I guess I don't understand, why does it have to be confidential in order for it to just to be a regular staff position? Joanne's not in the union. So how
Yeah,
is it? in the-
Because as a deputy, she's not in the union, as is
Right.
mine, the union, right?
Okay, but why does this person have to be in the union?
I don't think she should be out of the union.
Well, what difference does it make if she's in the union or out of the union, period?
Yeah, but the position is not in the union. That's what I'm saying. I don't know, you keep saying bring it out of the union. The position is not, it's not currently, it's not there. So it's not in the union.
So she's not in the union?
Position.
She is right now. Brittany is in the union. He wants to create another position that's not in the union and take her out of the union and make her a salaried person.
Well, why is that bad? Why does that
I'll tell you
make
why.
a difference?
I think it's bad because because you're getting around giving her a raise when we froze raises. And that's one of the reasons why I'm against it. Otherwise, I've got 6 or 8 people that I want raises for. And I've been holding the line on it and I'm adamant on it. I'm not, if somebody's going to start getting raises, then I think there's a lot of people in this building that deserve raises.
But how is she getting a raise if we're changing her position and we're giving her a higher salary? That's the salary that is set. That's not a
That's the
raise.
salary that I'm
per
setting
se.
the position at. I'm not giving nobody a raise. I'm setting I'm creating a position and I'm setting a salary. I'm not giving nobody a raise.
She's doing
Yeah,
the same job.
Leon, you're pulling Brittany out of the union, giving her a $6,000 raise and calling her a specialist.
It's
She
not
is-
a raise, it's what the salary's set at.
Sherry, I'm creating a position and I'm setting a salary for it. And I'm pulling, yeah, she's coming out of union, but that don't make, that position wasn't in the union. It don't exist. The union position is the account clerk, which still is gonna be there.
Well, I'm sure the union will fight it anyway because you're creating another
They'll fight me,
Giving
Sherry,
a
but I don't think so.
name, and I will do the same thing to give my person a $6,000 raise.
So you
And
making
who
a-
are you wanting to give a $6,000 raise to?
You know
Who,
what?
me?
Hey, can I say something? Why is every time I try to make a proposal, it get attached to something else somebody else want? Each department has came forth with a proposal that has been made. Kevin, you made a proposal your second year. You asked us to change Dan salary to a certain position. We agreed to it. Then the next year you asked you wanted to get us a confidential secretary, which wasn't there. That was brought back. I had no problem with that. I had no problem with what you asked for.
There's
and we
no
did.
more people in it. My office is the same as it was when I walked in the door. I
No, it's
had
No, it's not.
30 hours a week.
All right, Kevin. Your
Together.
executive session was halftime, and you didn't have a confidential secretary because it wasn't there. It had gotten rid of
30 hours. What was her name? Bellinger. I had Bellinger for 30 hours, and I had Kathy Klein for 30 hours. And we put those two together. We called her Hannah.
Yeah, but Kevin, did you get a fight for me out of that? No. Did
No.
you get a fight for me?
Wait. Leon,
No.
you're asking for two things here. You got to realize you're asking for two
Okay.
things. You're asking for two people and one of them to get a raise.
No, I'm asking for one position. The account clerk is still there.
Through the chair, through the chair.
Sorry, go ahead, Trustee Martin.
I could understand your consternation about losing a union position if that was the case, but actually, Danae is a temp and she is going to move into the accounts clerk slot, which is a union job. The union's not losing any spots. He's creating a new position with a set salary. So she's not getting a raise per se. Yeah, it's more money than she's making as an account clerk, but that's what
Because we're changing her
position pays.
positions.
That's what that position pays.
Well, then,
And they're not the union is not going to lose a job.
yes,
No.
but you know what? Every department will do that now because
Well, you make your budget in advance, and if that's what you needed to do for your budget, that should have been in your budget. All of it, Kevin and Leon, it should have been in your budget.
Leon and I had a discussion many times before, and he had agreed he would not pull it out of the union. Kevin had said he wasn't pulling it out of the union. They had all agreed to that. And now he comes before the board and he wants
I had
to
never.
go
I
around
told-
what
yeah,
Kevin
I
and I have conversations we've had and present it to the rest of you to let him get what he wants.
Sure,
I
told
don't
you-
understand how he's pulling anything out of
I
the
didn't
union
wanna bring
because
this out of the union.
the union is not losing a position. And
They
the position that he's created
Yeah.
is not a union job. So that I don't understand.
Supervisor.
Because Kevin's there saying it's a union job. It should be a
But-
union job. It's a glorified account clerk.
But
And they're-
they're not losing the job.
That's
I
not
don't-
fair to call it a glorified anything.
I don't agree.
Well-
I don't agree.
Supervisor,
People waiting, yeah.
I agree with Clerk Wright that if he needs that position to support his elections, then I think we should support that.
Okay. We agreed to allow to keep Danae on. She was supposed to leave after the November election. We've agreed to not look the other way, but it's a good legacy plan. We like Danae. She works great. But she was supposed to keep her on so that when Joanne retires, then Brittany can move up. We all decided that we would bite this bullet. But then he came back and asked for more. And we just said, that's too much. You're asking for too much. You're asking us to add another employee that we're not sure you need right now, but we want to keep.
See that, Kevin, that's the problem right there.
He's not adding another employee.
I run the clerk office, and how do you tell me what you're not sure I need? I never tell you what you're not sure you need in your office. See, that's my problem there. You shouldn't be telling me what you don't think I need.
You agreed to all this. For a year, you've agreed to this, and now you're coming back
Yeah.
into the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
For- Through the chair,
The change, and that's what I'm trying, that's why I just presented. Did you just see that, my presentation? That I presented, that don't mean anything, right?
For a year about this, and you've always been one way, and then you keep on adding more things that you want on it.
Haven't
Through
added anything, the same budget.
through the chair, let me add this. Each department through the years I've seen, you've changed your staffing, every department. And you come to the board and you ask for changes, and we were more than happy to abide that. Why are we treating Leon any different here? Why are we treating the clerk any different? Now, I don't know the intricacies of the day-to-day operations like the clerk does, but if the clerk says he needs this position, why aren't we supporting it? And we're not, like Kevin Martin said, we're not losing a union position. It's still there. And we all know that Joanne eventually will retire, and Leon's preparing for that. So why are we giving him such a hard time over this? We should, if he says he needs this person in this position, then, and he makes a valid argument, I don't understand why the board doesn't support it.
I have to respond because you asked a question. Why are we upset? Because this is what he's asked for. He's got Danae out there, he's asked to keep Danae and Brittany, okay? We've said, okay, sure, fine. And he can keep them, he can keep under the way it is now. But he wants to give Brittany a raise. And we have a raise freeze on. The only way you can give Brittany a raise is by creating a position that doesn't exist and then having you guys give her that raise.
That's not it. It's a reason why I don't want to have another account for it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You said you're trying to tell me how to run what I think how my department should be ran. I don't want another account clerk in the union, Kevin. That's the problem. I don't want. I'm not. The budget implication is not been affected. So I don't know what the big problem is here. I'm telling you now, you don't have to change any monetary value in my budget numbers. So what's the problem?
Okay, here's the deal with me. If you want to make that position and without a raise, the same amount she made before, then I don't have a problem with it. But if you're going to create a new raise of a new amount for it, then yes, then the budgets probably should stop right now, because I am coming in with all sorts of raises all over the place.
No, Kevin, that's first of all, that's childish. Second of all, each of these departments have run under a certain amount of autonomy. You created a job in building and development. You created a job for executive assistant. That job didn't exist before. You created that job. I'm sorry.
I want a raise for her too.
Yeah, well, is it in your budget?
Well, yeah.
So what I'm saying is, you created a job and nobody balked at that. It was all well and good. And I agree with Clerk Wright. It seems like every time he tries to do something to better his department or whatever, he always gets a lot of pushback and criticism. But I don't see that with any other department. Mm-hmm. He knows how his department runs better than any of us in here. And if he says that's what he needs and this was going to move us forward, I don't have any problem with it. But for you to counter and say you're going to ask for 8 raises for other people and retaliation to this, that's not even right.
I told
And we're calling it glorified. That's not fair.
No raises, and now all of a sudden he's figuring out a way to get around the raises.
It's not him figuring out how to get around the raises. That's unfair. He's creating a position. He's planning for the future. He's planning for Joanne's retirement. We understand. Nobody said a word when you created positions in your office. I remember when before Dan, it was a part-time position. We made that full-time. And we shuffled people around. Your staff grew, and then we shifted.
2 part-time positions full-time. 2 part-time positions became 1 full-time.
Yeah, man, when I first talked to Sherry.
Yeah, but that was also an increase in salary as well.
When I first talked to Sherry about this position, Sherry, I came to you and I told you what I want to do. You told me that you would not want it. You don't want to take it out of the union. And our conversation was that, yes, Sherry, I'd rather for it not to be in the union. And you said, well, the only way I agree to it is that you keep it in the union. Well, right. After thinking about it, the union poses a problem for me doing what I want to do.
Got to go through the union procedure.
So that's my problem. And I think, hold on, Sherry, let me finish.
You don't want it, and I'm not the only one that called it a glorified cow clerk, and I didn't mean that derogatory.
Well,
It's just,
I
it
haven't
has.
heard anybody else on the board.
the one that called it.
I haven't heard anybody else on the board say that but you. So if anybody else saying, I haven't heard it, and I really don't care what anybody else is saying. But this is my department. Anybody want to call it a glorified account clerk? I mean, they could call it. I'm sure they could come in and assess your department, cause your account clerk's different thing too. But I wouldn't do that. I've never fought your department, but whatever you want to share, you need it, Kevin. I've always been supportive. But it do seems like every time I ask for something, or every time I mention something, it always get pushback. And Trustee Martin is right. We added executive assistant in the developmental department for our Met Best. Now we got Dan in there as a director. We got 2 people in the communication department. I've been supportive of everything that you asked for. But every time I ask for something, then you sit there and talk about me like I'm not sitting here like he's trying to change something. I'm not trying to change anything. I'm doing one simple thing. I'm proposing a request for the Board of Trustees to either approve or disapprove.
And it's not changing your budget.
It's not changing my budget.
Problem with
Right.
it, so long as you're not giving her a raise. If you're giving her a raise, I have a big problem with it.
It's not a raise, it's a position that he's creating at a certain amount. He's proposing. You say he's circumventing this by going around getting the raise this way. I don't see it.
I don't either.
And this
I
is
don't either. I support the clerk.
for a year, we worked our way through this thing. He keeps it just, you've asked for too much now. You asked for Danae, we gave you Danae. You wanted to keep Danae for the whole year because of the election in November. We let you do that. You said you're going to get rid of her after the November election. Now you've said you want to keep her because Joanne may retire. We've said, okay, we'll create that extra position. Now you're saying that you want to create another.
All that happened because of changes that happened. Nobody could predict what happened to Joanne. No one can predict what happened to her. She went out on medical, it was supposed to be 6 weeks.
I know.
A whole year. Can nobody
Yeah.
predict that?
I'm not
Just
blaming
like
you
you
on
can't
that.
predict COVID.
And she could go out again, and she's going to
Yeah.
retire eventually. We
I
know that.
Keep on adding things. You keep on saying we're against you. We've given you everything you've asked for all the way along. It's just to me.
Adding anything. I just told you my budget implication is going to stay the same. I'm not adding anything to my budget. Matter of fact, I'm giving you money back. I just presented to you money that's coming back. And
It's
coming
going to
back.
be the same, right?
No,
The
it's
budget's going to be the
cannot
same.
the same. His budget is because Danae was supposed to be gone at the end of the year, which means in 2021, he would have Brittany and the other people in the office. But now he's asked to bring on Deanne full-time, so he's going to have her full-time. So now he's got 2 full-time clerks, where if it had gone through like it was supposed to, there would only be 1. He wants 2. I didn't
But
object
that's
to
still
the
not
fact
changing my budget, Sherry.
to, but I told him it needed to stay in the union, and that's what he's fighting, and now he wants to give her $6,000. And he knows that Brittany can handle Joanne's job because she did. So
Through the
I
chair.
don't think that way. It does change the budget. It has to.
Raises. Kevin
Through the
Martin.
chair. You know, we always have these conversations. We want to be a premier community. We want to be the best at this and best at that. And, you know, you build that from within our staff. That's how we create a premier community. This is and it's all about talent retention. You want to retain your talent. If you have people that are good at their positions, why do you want to alienate them and have them leave? Now, if Brittany is part of the succession plan for Joanne's retiring, I think that it would behoove us to do everything that we can to retain her. And as far as making it a union job, I don't agree with that, because the union's not going to lose a job. So, you know, building a premier community starts from within.
And to add to that, and I'm sure that eventually when we do move Brittany up, if that's the case, we're not going to start out at what Joanne's salary was. It took Joanne I don't know how many umpteen years to get to that. So you got to look at the big picture.
Hey, let me ask a few questions then. You just made, Treasurer Bud, you're on mute. So the first thing is, Clerk Wright, are you, when Joanne retires, you plan on moving Brittany up, which is great. We all think that, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So then you plan on having Danae stay as the accounts clerk. The plan always was that they will not hire an additional person than at that time. You will live with with Danae, Brittany as Joanne's job, and the other two. That was what you've told us all along. Is that still your plans?
Say that again. The plan was to do what now?
Your plan was to basically,
Yeah, my plan, I just presented it. So,
but now I'm going to have this argument again in a year when Joanne leaves, and you move Brittany up, and then you go to hire another person because you said you weren't going to hire another person when you can move Brittany in.
I'm gonna hire another person if I put Brittany in. Not with Joanne being here, no. Why would I hire another person?
No.
But if Joanne leaves, Leon, are you?
Yeah, Brittany probably would, Brittany
We
probably would.
agree to this, are you going to come back to the board and ask for an additional person? That's what he's asking, I think.
My question,
To take the Brittany position?
Mhm. Yes.
How can I say that when I don't know what's gonna
How can you predict that? We don't know what will happen.
be at that time? Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, if Brittany moves up to the deputy clerk position, which that could be anyone. I mean, that's an appointed position. That's my solely choice. Who's gonna be deputy? But if I have moved her up, it would be the most logical thing to do is to move her into that position. But then, so you said at that point you want me to eliminate the election special position? That's what you're saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why would we do that then if we're gonna create it? If it's a need to eliminate it, we could, but
Well, that's what you said. You kind of intimated that if you got this position, you weren't going to hire the other position. That's what my takeaway was. Is that what you trustees thought?
hire which position? What you talking about though? I mean,
Once Brittany replaces Joanne, you're not planning on refilling Brittany's spot.
Yeah.
But my point is, well, I don't know when that's going to happen, so we don't know where we'll be or who's left or who's with us or who isn't. So it's kind of hard to say, to forecast in the crystal ball of the clerk's office what we could get them for now and hold them to it in a few years. I don't think that's fair either.
also, I'm asking for account specialist position. So you're saying that I'm not asking. You make it sound like I'm asking for a temporary account specialist position.
No.
So can you leave the account specialist positions pay at the current rate that she's at? I mean, that's all I cared about. I really don't care what you call her, as long as her pay doesn't change.
I don't even know if anybody would. I don't know if it would take it at the position that is at currently. I mean, it's probably negotiable, but why would it?
Already doing the work.
Outside of not necessarily.
I don't think it should be a $6,000 raise, but Reggie, in answer to your question,
It could be
when Brittany went up as deputy, she did make exactly what Joanne made, which whoever came in as deputy would get what the deputies are making. So
Yeah.
Thank
you. All right.
Just so you know.
Thank you. No, in all fairness, I appreciate it.
I think a $6,000 difference is too much.
It don't have to be though, Sherry. That happened because Joanne was coming back. You can't decrease the rate if she respected.
No deputy would come in any different. When Joanne came in as a new deputy, she made exactly what the other deputy made. There was never a difference.
No change.
No change, you're right. The only person that came in differently was Dan Selman did not come in by who he replaced.
Also, I want to ask this. So if Brittany's salary changes 6,000, she would not get the 2% according to the policy we have in place, correct? Because it's less than 6 months. Let's be real clear on that. She doesn't get 2% on top of the 6,000.
That's correct.
Well, her salary would be whatever it was stated because the position
Right.
doesn't start till January 1st, I would
But
assume.
no 2% on top of it.
No, but I think a 6,000 is too big a change.
Clerk Wright,
Yes.
what exactly would her salary be? You said 51,800.
51,800, 6,000, what I'm proposing, it would be 45,800 at the
So,
current position at January 1st.
so you said other communities have election specialists in their clerk's office?
Yes, they
And
do.
do you know what the median pay is?
There it goes, it starts at 50 and goes all the way up to 56. That's why I was going down to at the lowest portion.
And now, in the past, the township has looked at other salaries for positions in other communities, and we have always tried to pay in line with the other communities are paying. I don't see why this is any different.
Well, I haven't seen a chart to what anybody else pays.
Well, he
Yeah.
just said the range was from 50,000 to 57,000. So
Sherry,
I mean,
I got some rates I can share with you, Sherry.
No, I actually don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is that it's creating, what I have a problem with is that he asked for one thing a year ago, and he changed it 6 months ago, then he changed it 3 months ago, now they changed it again today.
things changed over time,
things
Kevin.
change.
We didn't have 10,000 AV.
No, the
voters
rates
either.
portion of it, and I'm getting, and I feel like everybody's,
Kevin, respectfully, the workload is changing. I just mentioned all that. I've increased, the workload has changed, and I've just added another AV counting board. I'm probably gonna have to add another one down the line. I think the state is soon gonna go to all mail voting. That's what we're hearing. So yeah, it is changing. Unfortunately, it is changing. I'm not trying to put that over nobody's eyes. It's changing. The election process is changing. Cheryl, I'm gonna share some numbers with you. When I put some numbers, when you was deputy clerk in 1996, you guys had 784 absentee ballots. I just processed 7,500 for the primary. That's 10 times more than what you did at during that time. That's an example of how we're changing. We're 24,000 registered voters now with 22,000 active voters.
I know, and we've given you extra staff, we've given you extra
You
machinery so
haven't.
that,
What extra staff?
pardon me, we gave you another
The
AV.
office has been the same ever since I've been here. I don't have extra staff. I brought in temporary staff during the major election.
Right,
No.
But I have not. You haven't given me, any extra staff. This is my 12th year.
no, you had extra staff when I came in the fourth year, you had a half person.
Those was temps, Kevin, temporary,
You were a whole person right off the get-go. So you moved up.
temporary, temps, just like Danae is temporary.
You had a half a full-time and the treasurer had a half a full-time. And we moved you up to one full-timer in your office and treasurer one full-timer.
No, Sherry, that half person couldn't, just like prime example, Sherry, we were sharing a person and it didn't accommodate your office, so you needed a full-time person. And you asked for a full-time person. Did you get a full-time person? Yes, you did.
Did
and
you?
so did,
Yes.
So did I. I had a full-time person prior to that. We tried to have time, remember? Joanne was clerk prior to her becoming clerk.
Years and a half.
Was here. I've always become clerk. Sherry know that.
So I'm trying.
I have a question.
Alexis,
So I have a question for the clerk.
Treasurer, or
Because of these changes in your office, is there any turmoil that this has created? Is there any turmoil in your office with moving these positions around?
My office solely supports what I'm presenting. There's no.
Okay, I have another question too. So other townships that are, or cities that make up our demographics or are close to our demographics, are you similar in staffing and what you're proposing with this change? Are you close to what other townships are are
Okay.
having in the clerk's office as far as staffing goes.
That's where I got my staffing projections from, other
So the
township.
real issue that Kevin and Sherry have is really with the union, correct?
My issue is only with the raise.
But-
The money,
So Kevin calls it a raise. You call it what the position, I don't know, what the market dictates, the 6,000. Correct? So it's really about the $6,000 raise, right? So what's this really about? The $6,000 raise in the union
That's
position?
all I care about. That's all.
Money.
People that deserve raises out there, and I told them all.
I don't think it's a raise. I think it's what the position dictates, but, and Sherry, you say it's the union position?
I would think that many years ago, we pulled people out of the union and they filed a grievance because it was union work.
You're not pulling nobody out.
You're not putting them back. Again,
and
this
they-
is a non-union state now.
Well, okay, so you want to talk about a non-union state? Well, I'm not gonna argue
I
that.
think we need to move forward on this presentation in the essence of time. I think we understand clearly now where the issues lie. I still support Clerk Wright's position on this, but I think we need to move forward. If we want to put this on an agenda item, our next agenda, we can certainly do that. Being on the election commission, I'd be okay with doing that. How do you feel, Kevin Martin?
I don't have any problem with that.
All right, I don't have a problem with it.
I don't have
Sherry
a problem.
Fraser,
I don't
Okay.
have a problem.
but we really need to get going on the rest of this budget. I know Jennifer's waiting, so we can argue this all day. We're just rehashing the same thing. Wouldn't you all agree?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
Okay, so that completes the election office.
Really, there's only $9,000 in here that is not salary, so there's no sense in even arguing any of that because it's all salary. It's in a salary account. So we can move forward, right?
What's happening? I didn't hear what you said.
Basically, I said that your budget there is almost all salary. It's only $9,000 non-salary, so there's not really a lot. There's nothing you can cut. So you're all set, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's no budget applications in what I was proposing.
Okay.
Anyway,
One more thing I want to add, Kevin, you mentioned that about raises. Were there any raises that were promised this year that we reneged on?
10.
No, there's only Ken Dandy and IT, and that wasn't promised. That was just an overlook by the IT department. No, there's a lot of people that felt they just deserved them, and quite frankly, there's a lot of people that did deserve them, that went above and beyond. And I'm going to be reopening that, I guess, in the next 12 hours.
So they didn't get the raise?
I'm not walking on Holland saying, yeah, we're giving out raises and you're not getting one.
No.
I don't look at this as a raise. Okay, I'm sorry I asked that question. All right, let's move on.
That could be bad for your health, Kevin.
Real happy about this, yeah.
Yeah.
General office. Okay, we have general office, which is everyday clerk. That's yours.
general office is basically what it is, general office. It pays for the township expenditures of for office supplies, postage, contractor services. The footnotes tell you exactly what it covers. Equipment maintenance is for the copier. Printing and publishing provides the general publication for the township, such as minutes, public hearings, job notices, general notices to the newspaper. Postage covers postage for the postage machine. Equipment rental, which is solely the postage machine is on a rental basis, and we pay 4 installments, and that's what that is. Handling fees is for the bank accounts, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Sheriff?
Yes.
That covers the cost of banking. It's pretty much all township driven fees for general office. We've done a great job controlling that cost. As you can see, the COVID year, we only spent so far $47,000. which is great. So, okay, happy to entertain any questions you have on that.
Nope.
No,
No.
That completes my presentation.
All right, let's move on then. Dan, I guess we're into Parks and Recreation now.
Okay, hi, everybody.
Hello, hi.
hi.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Super.
Good, good. Yeah, this has been an interesting year, as I'm sure we all keep saying.
Let me start with the overview. As everybody knows from their one-on-ones with me, we
Okay.
have no idea what's going to happen next year. So we're built out a budget just like nothing's wrong. We all know it is.
Yeah,
So we're just going to present this, and I assume that half of it's not going to get done, and half of it's going to fall to the surplus line next year. But I mean, I wouldn't even doubt by January 1st, this budget is completely redone. Not even now, November. But,
I think we have to operate like that, just present it as it is and
Mhm.
day by day, week by week.
I agree. It's a living document.
Yeah.
right.
all right. Okay, go ahead, Jennifer.
Okay. I'll just go through each line. For recreation, we're just going over the recreation portion of it right now. So the first two line items are just the director and deputy director, and that just includes our raise. No, I'm just kidding. No raise. That just includes 2% for.
Too soon, too soon.
I'm sorry. 2% for next year. And then you go down to recreation wages, and that covers the one account clerk in the office, as well as my 5 part-time staff. And that too includes the 2% increase for next year. And then we go down to allocated fringes. And not much has changed with any of these things. We're just keeping it pretty consistent, thinking that we're going to continue, because I still have my part-timers working. They're working at the main doors as screeners and all of that. So I'm still budgeting them, thinking that they're going to continue to do that into next year. And then hopefully we open up normal next year. So I'm still budgeting the same with them. And operating supplies, that's just office supplies that we purchase here in the office. So that stays the same. Our program expense, I haven't touched that, even though we're not spending really any money out of it because we're not doing any programming this year. Next year, I did decrease it a little bit. I'm hoping that I'm going to have to come back and ask to amend that up a little bit, maybe if we can open back up and offer some programming. So, but right now, just for 2021, we have decreased that by 20,000.
Question.
Yeah.
So what programs are you taking out in anticipation of COVID for next summer? I wanted to see the mini summer concert series put in. If we don't run it, then fine, we'll put it back in the budget. Is that still, and Dan was explaining.
That comes out of Parks budget, the contracted services.
Okay.
Actually, so program expense is more of paying instructors for classes.
I see.
Our special events like Daddy-Daughter Dance, that's usually held in February. I don't know if we'll be holding that. So I'm just not even thinking about that. But so we just decreased it in kind of where we're going to go. So, but the concert series, yeah, we're still planning on doing that. That's budgeted in the Parks budget though. And then program summer camp, we left that alone too. I'm hoping we can run summer camp next year. Then we've got our memberships and dues. That just pays for us to be members of the Michigan Parks and Recreation Association. We've got our Recreation Commission. That just pays for the recording secretary for the Recreation Committee. Transportation, that's just reimbursement for mileage. Training, that pays for myself and the deputy director to attend the MRPA state conference, but I have a feeling that's going to be more of a virtual thing as we move into next year. So I have the money there, but I'm thinking I'm not probably going to have to spend I probably will not be spending that, but I budgeted it just in case things change. Maybe they might change it to a different time of year next year. And then we've got printing and publishing. That is going down for next year. That pays for our portion of the Van Buren Today magazine. Then we have utilities. That just pays for the lighting at Beck Ball Field and our township softball field behind the township here. We have equipment maintenance, and that pays for our copier maintenance agreement, our duplicator, and things of that nature. Other, that is just our drug screening for employees for summer camp and part-time staff. And then capital outlay, I have budgeted $10,000 for next year because we are in need of updating the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. And $3,500 is in there for a laptop replacement based on the IT replacement plan.
So capital outlay expenses, I don't see 10,000 here. I see 6,000 and requested 14,000.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I broke that down it's $10,000 for the master plan update and actually that should be 4,000 for the laptop replacement.
I see. Okay. And what programs are running currently?
Currently, we don't have any programs running right now.
Nothing outside, nothing. Okay.
They're looking into it along with the seniors right now.
Okay. All right. Thanks. So Halloween is a cancel. Are we canceling the Halloween event?
As far as I'm understanding, we are, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. I won't go buy candy. All right. Thanks.
Jennifer, I just wondered on printing and publishing,
Mhm.
it went down $10,000. Why?
Well, it was kind of broken out by each department. Majority of it, I think because of just starting out with this magazine, they, printing and publishing, when we used to do the Lake Ledger, a majority of that would all come out of our line item. And so it sounds like we're kind of breaking away from that a little bit and asking different departments to budget more for it out of each department. So this is us figuring how many pages we would have for our department and how much it costs per page in that. So this is the calculation that
So,
I was.
and this is in the VBT Township magazine, right?
Correct. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And I would think because you kept the 19,400, at the end of the year, you're going to be given a good share of that back.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's pretty easy budget. All right.
So everything that you plan for, in case you can't have the programs, that'll go back into the general fund.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Yep. It was just best not to really amend anything.
Yeah.
Because the majority of it's going to be going back. So it was just kind of left it alone there.
Right.
To the chair. On a happy note, I was speaking to some residents yesterday that live over there where the new pickleball courts are going in and the tennis courts, and they are very happy and excited.
Yay!
Good.
Yay.
Good news.
Jennifer,
That's clerk, right?
recreation. I guess, I don't know if it would be the recreation or in Parks and Rec. I mean, in Parks budget, but I guess just combined. One thing I would like to see, and I think we talked about it, I would like to see you guys start putting capital outlay projects in the budget to be thought about by the board in regards to things in the park that you want done, like whether it's another pavilion or basketball court or whatever.
Playground.
I'd like to see that capital outlay yearly, something that's going to be, up and added to the parks in that fashion.
That's good.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, very good idea, Leon.
Yes, we do in the parks budget have some things in capital outlay for improvements out at French Landing Park has been added into that line item. So we really focused on French Landing for 2021 in capital outlay.
Okay.
Now, I will admit that we do move around a little bit because we're so grant centered here for money that when we get a grant, we lock on it and we get it, and all of a sudden it forces us to go in a different direction.
Right.
And so that's the biggest reason why we move around so much, because when Iron Bell's moving in, we can put it into Van Buren Township Park. Suddenly we're doing work in Van Buren Township Park. And the idea is always to try and expand the pie, and then you get somebody else and says, okay, we'll give you money if you can match it. And we'll say, okay, we got $500,000 matching money here because they allow it. So suddenly you end up doing something else in that park. And that's, that may look like we're jumping around, and we are, but it's because we're jumping to the.
It's the name of the game.
We got to be ready to jump.
And move around. Speaking of moving around, where are we with the Bell Iron Trail, Jen? Can you give us a update?
Well, where we currently are is because everything is sectioned off. And so the portion that we can now spend the money on through the trust fund, through the DNR, is the portion down here in River Drive from Edgemont to Riggs Park, Martinsville Road. So the engineers for PEA are currently working on that. It sounds like they're going to be working on the permitting this winter, and there's talk of bidding it out in the early spring with hopes of having construction starting of summer 2021. That's just that small portion there in Huron River Drive. The rest of it through Van Buren Park and the east side of Huron River Drive, that is still being looked at by our engineers, and that's being paid for through the challenge grant through the DNR. That particular money is still on hold. It's a freeze on that money. We've not been told or given any new information on when they think that freeze will end. So right now the focus is on the Huron River Drive portion of the park. So it is good news that they're talking about construction for 2021. So we are moving forward with that portion. So at least get something of the trail here.
Well, that's good. So Kevin McNamara mentioned that some of that money was frozen. The section that we're moving forward on is okay. So did we put any matching money up on the frozen part, Kevin?
No, not on the frozen part.
Okay. I just had to ask.
We still owe $100,000 when they do the $400,000 of the work on Huron River Drive.
Right. The trust fund money.
Well, we're allowed to use other money too, but we probably should kick in a little bit of money for that. And then the $500,000 that we have in CDBG, we won that last year. That is for Iron Bell Trail as it goes through Van Buren Township Park. And that's going to build the trail where the saddle is, where the road goes down and up and it's destroyed. Well, that's going to build that section of the trail, which they're going to rebuild the road, really. So we're going to get a new road connecting this north.
Hey. Well, that's always good.
Yeah, so that is good. Yeah, like I said, we kind of bounce around at the opportunities that we get.
Kind of like our budget.
All
right.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
No.
Then Jennifer Zangwan, is she here?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm not on camera. I guess I'm being portrayed as a snowman this afternoon. So let's see. The host is, oh, there I am. I'm no longer a snowman. I do want to show you that I am a receipt holding member of the senior center. So I just joined today. Because I'm 50 now. Can you believe it?
I want to see your ID.
I know. Oh,
Get it out.
So I stormed next door and said, Lynette, sign me up. I'm a member now.
You're
You'll
still a
get
baby.
AARP.
Yeah,
You got a lot
That's
to
crazy.
learn, girl.
I do. That's why I'm here. All right. Well, if we'd like to go through the budget, there's our budget for parks. A lot of it's wages and then grant money at the end. Here's the rest of my face.
Mhm.
I'm here. I promise. So looking down at 2021, that line item pays for part-time, year-round part-time staff and summer seasonal staff. So I'm not sure if everybody can see the notes, but I've got it broken down. It
Mhm.
shows 3 year-round part-time maintenance employees. They can work a maximum of 29 hours. So that's what I budget for them. They don't always are able to work the 29, but that's our goal. 2 of them typically do. One typically works about 21 hours, but we have that there. So if we need that person, if they can come in, they do so. It also shows typically we have 4 year-round part-time maintenance. One of our maintenance staff, Fred Campbell, he retired. He's a retiree from Ford, worked here for 20 years.
Wow.
And the day he retired, we shut down the state. We're like, Fred, we can't do it without you. We shut down the building. We shut down the state. So his last day of work was the beginning of the pandemic. I don't know what that means, but that's what happened.
You go out.
Yeah. He went out with a bang.
Yeah.
So what we have in the budget is replacing him. He worked at about 15 hours a week, and their budget reflects that right now we don't have a replacement for him, but this shows in 2021, the 3 year-round part-time staff at 29 hours, 1 year-round part-time staff at 15 hours, which Fred Campbell was working. And then it shows the 2 seasonal gatehouse employees that work out at Van Buren Park. They're responsible for making sure people that are coming through the park are paying entrance fees. They answer questions. They make sure people are going to the right pavilions, handle any concerns. They're kind of like our frontline staff out at Van Buren Park. And then also one seasonal maintenance staff that works in the summer that helps to alleviate the litter, the trash, pavilion rentals, that helps us out with all of those things. So that comes in at about $99,000. And then of course the associated fringes that go with that. Our operating supplies is what we spend in our maintenance. It's buildings and grounds picks up a lot of the paper products and chemicals that we use in the bathrooms. Everything outside of that, when we need locks, chains, any type of small machinery, gloves, you name it, insect spray, anything like that comes out of the operating supplies. And next we have contracted services. This is where we get to have a little bit of fun. Contracted services pays for the fireworks show, which we were unable to do this year, unfortunately. It pays for our concert series. So I know Trustee Miller, you're asking about that, and we are planning for 2021. So let's hope and pray that we're able to offer things like this, because I know our community misses it, and we really miss putting these type of events on. So we were looking forward to that. Pays for porta-johns for the fireworks, and then in the parks for any earth materials, if I need mulch or dirt for fill, anything like that. Mulch and safety mulch for the playgrounds. And then when we do the prescribed fires out at Riggs. So all of those things come out of contracted services. It's a type of things that we can't handle ourselves in-house, that we contract out. The next line item was our telephones out at Van Buren Park, which have been eliminated. So that's not in this budget for this year.
You mean the phones that what was it, the Civic Fund paid for?
Well,
the
what
call
it was is,
boxes?
yeah, we had 3 phone lines out at Van Buren Park, and we had one in the gatehouse, which the emergency phone was connected to. We had a phone at the pole barn where our staff punches in and out, works out of. And then there was a phone line in the old concession stand in the front part of Van Buren Park. These phone lines have always had troubles, and we've never gotten the emergency phones to work. We've had electricians look at it. We've had AT&T look at it. We could never get them to work. So we decided that since people primarily are using their cell phones, we just did away with it.
It's a shame because the civic fund
I
put up
know.
a lot of money for those, a lot of time and effort to get those in place.
I know,
But
it was,
it was
quite a
expensive
process.
and the one place you should have one is probably the splash pad,
Yeah,
just in case, but
I don't think
It's a
there's one out there.
safety issue.
no, there's
Yeah.
not. It's just a shame that all that went in and now we're not using them.
Right,
Yeah.
it is a shame. I don't know, I guess some things just don't work out, and it was unfortunate. I know that, I mean, this goes back to Bill Turner and Jeff Fonda being there, trying to get them going and get contractors out, and they just never worked.
And God forbid
bad.
if they tried to use them and they couldn't get through and they failed.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
liability.
And being that they weren't working, we had them marked off. You couldn't see them, didn't know they were there, but we never got them in working order. And that
All
may be
right.
something we could add to the splash pad. I know other splash pads do have them. It just didn't work. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
We
All right.
probably should have an emergency phone
Mhm.
at the splash pad because it's a safety issue.
Right.
It is.
You can't count on people having their cell phone available if some kid gets hurt and they have to call, an ambulance. I'm just
Right.
saying.
They're being dropped by their parents. They don't. Sometimes
I
these
know.
kids
I
don't
hope
have
not.
cell phones, and if someone hits their head on that wet concrete, at least they know there's a phone.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'll work with the DDA to do something
Yeah.
about that. We can
Okay.
get something installed. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
It's just like at the library, they have a phone, still out there because what if somebody comes up and needs something and there's no pay phones now,
Right.
Main
Right.
Street, so.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, we'll get that done.
Mhm.
Next line item is transportation that just pays for mileage. Going to meetings. Jennifer and I seem to go to Lansing quite a bit. Not so much this year, but in the past. We end up going to a lot of meetings. And so that's what that covers. And then our training line item, just like she had mentioned, sometimes it's meetings through MRPA, and we're always looking for training opportunities. Even now, there's not a lot of things being offered, but we're looking for things that can help us out in our day-to-day operations. And training covers that for our staff and also for ourselves. Printing and publishing pays for anything we get printed from the park passes. In here, you'll see in my notes, we're also contributing $1,600 this year towards the VBT Today magazine. This covers any signage that we buy, anything like that. I know that this year I purchased quite a bit of COVID signage. Now that came out of a different line item. It did not come out of our budget, but there's times where signage is needed. We use it to signify that things are closed or when things are opening or when we have events. So that gets used for a variety of things. Utilities pays for electricity at the parks and also the propane at Van Buren Park for the pole barn. And where am I? Other pays for drug testing when we bring on new employees. And it also gives me an opportunity to take out money for startup money for the gatehouse. So I typically take out $300 at the beginning of the season, then we return it after the end of the season, which we did not do this year because we did not need it. And then we move into all of the grant projects. So you'll see the first one's the environmental grant project. This is our Iron Bell Trail money. And we get confused because there's a couple of different pockets of Iron Bell Trail money. There's some that's through CDBG that's in, I don't know if it's economic development's budget, but I know Matt Best is overseeing the CDBG, so it comes out of a different budget. But the 500,000 here is Jennifer Wright was able to secure a $300,000 grant and then two $50,000 grants. So that's what that is. And we have a $100,000 match with that. So Jen, are you on? Is this a trust fund grant?
Correct, yes. Yep, that's trust fund.
Okay, I think I've got it listed here.
Well, the 300,000 is trust fund. The $100,000 is the two $50,000 challenge grants that
Challenge grants.
on hold.
Yeah, so lots of money at play there. And a lot of these projects, a lot of things were slated for 2020 that obviously are just not happening. So some things are being pushed off till next year. And that's the case with this. In our capital outlay, we had budgeted for 2020, $150,000 to be used at French Landing. So French Landing will be going through kind of a facelift. And the only thing that's happened out there so far is there is a company that's been doing some landscaping and some removal of invasive species and planting of native plants. They're in process working on that still. But the $150,000 that we had budgeted for a lot of these projects, the projects are not coming to fruition this year. And so that would be phase 1 of French Landing. So they're going to be putting in, like, redoing the fishing dock, putting in some different seating, putting in some some areas that are shaded where you can sit and enjoy the views of the lake. They're cleaning up the shoreline so you can see the lake a lot better. And phase 1, $150,000 project, was supposed to take place this year. Well, that's being pushed off till 2021 along with phase 2. So they're going to be very ambitious in trying to get everything done next year. And that total project is a $300,000. In this line item, I have $320,000 because the little bit that I'm asking for outside the project, the $20,000, is to put in some gates within Van Buren Park. Now, this will happen if it works with the projects that are going on with the Iron Bell Trail. The thought would be that when you first come into the park, those gates had been redone. But then as you go back, there's times in the wintertime where we want the park to be kept open, but there's certain parts we cannot keep open because the road gets very slippery and it can be kind of treacherous. So there's areas where we'd like to put some gates to allow people to access parts of the park and maybe not the entire park because of the weather. So even though it's snowy out, you can access the front loop where the 3 pavilions are, but we don't want you going back into the back of the park. So part of the money would pay for that. And then we have a really old gator in the park that we have revived many, many times, and it's time to replace it. So it's about $12,000 for a new working park gator that the guys use within Van Buren Park to litter pick, empty trash cans, just kind of go throughout the park and do those smaller jobs that's easier to access by the gator versus driving the truck all over the turf. So that's what the additional $20,000 is in that line item. And then we move on to the millage money. Wayne County Parks millage, we've got the $90,000 slated for this year. And that money is also being used at French Landing. They're using part of that money for the initial vegetation work that's out there. And that needs to be expensed this year. And so through Director Best, he's working on those projects and to get those finished up this year. And then we were also given an additional $31,845 down to the penny for 2021. So I believe that money will also go into French Landing. So we're really concentrating our efforts, trying to make some changes out there, trying to make it better. That's what we're working on.
Supervisor, I just, the thing that gets me about Van Buren Park, it's just not noticeable from, I don't know, from the roadway or whatever. I think we need a spectacular entryway there for French Landing and for Van Buren Park. And I just think it's just a hidden gem that we have that is just not utilized as much as it should be. And when I bring it up to residents, what are you talking about? They don't even know where Van Buren Park is. I said, have you used Van Buren Park? What? And I just think we need something to make it more noticeable. And that's the way I feel about it.
I have notes in this office that I've read as I've cleaned out drawers dating back to Jay Cokes, where they talk about they can't get anybody to use Van Buren Park. So
yeah. It's just not noticeable. I mean, maybe we need to put electronic sign or something that advertises the events that are happening in Van Buren Park.
We don't
You know-
have any right now.
I know we don't have any right now,
It'd be a bummer, but.
but you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
gets people's attention and makes them look at it and say, hey, it is our biggest park, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's our biggest park, and it's not being utilized as it should be. So I think we ought to make it a concerted effort to, get it out there.
Through the chair, I'm going to play on what Sherry Fraser just said, which was an excellent point. We need more activities out there. I would love to see basketball courts put in out there. We have the room. We need it so
Yeah.
badly. My husband just recently put up nets at Savage School so the kids would have something to do over the summer. And I can't believe how many kids are out there playing basketball.
Mhm.
Just even
Yeah.
a few at a time, just shooting hoops. But
Yeah.
we need that. We need those
Yeah.
hoops in our park. So that would be a great place to do it.
Yeah.
We've talked about that. We've talked about, can you guys still hear me? I disappeared for
Yeah.
a second. We talked about doing something in the front of the park where, because with basketball, we would like them to be
Visible.
visible from the road, but set apart from other activities. Because
Yes.
we don't want these bigger kids right next to a play structure because,
Right.
the big kids want to blow off some steam and get a little
Mhm.
loud and a little rambunctious. We want them to have fun, but not to be putting a damper on anybody else's time or, people to be complaining about the teenagers are getting a little too loud or something. But
Mhm.
we have discussed that. And I
Mhm.
appreciate Trustee Miller and Trustee Fraser for bringing these things up. As Jennifer Wright mentioned, we'll be working on our master plan, hopefully coming up soon in 2021. And these are things that we've brought up before. We've talked about the entrance. I know it's been brought up many times, and maybe we need to redo that signage where it's not just these brick walls that go this way. Maybe it's something more like the Quirk Road sign or Quirk Park, where when you drive up, you're seeing it and it catches your attention.
We need
Yeah.
to get professionals involved in this kind of signage
Right.
project. I mean, it can't be what we think. There's professional companies that advertise if we're going to have recreation in the park, it's going to
Right.
be available, then it's got to be advertised out on the road. That's how people are going to know. If it's going to have picnic areas or, whatever we're going to host there, we got to let them know what we've got in that Van Buren Park. Because nobody really, it's
a hidden gem, and it's so close to the pickleball courts. Why not
Yeah.
put in basketball courts right there? We
Yeah.
have it all right there. You can't just have basketball courts in one spot, not for this township of this size. So
Right.
Yeah. We could
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
pickleball, tennis, whatever we got out there,
all in that area.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So work on that part.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you don't have enough.
We're on it.
Okay, I know you are.
I'm going to write that down right now.
Any other
All
questions?
right. Whoa, was that Big Ben? You won't forget it.
I zoomed over just to get that.
I love that sense of
I'm
humor.
taking down notes right now.
All right. You got
Basketball
it.
courts, new sign, check. 2021 is going to be great.
Yay. I'm all for it.
I'm over 50, so I can say what I want now.
We're over 20.
You're not over 50 yet, you're just 50.
Yeah, yesterday.
Well, happy late
Happy
birthday.
birthday
Thank
to
you.
you and
Thank
Kevin.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes, and Kevin.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any other desires for Parks and Recreation?
Oh, we have more, but we'll let it go for now.
I know, one at a time.
We have a list too, yes.
I'll
It's
put my
good.
party hat on. Okay.
Okay. And thanks for the great job you ladies do.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
We're hanging in there.
All right. It's tough.
All right, I've got nothing else, so we're pretty much done for the day, I think.
We don't want to go with museum?
Is
And
seniors
what
still going
about
today?
Lynette Jordan? She's been on the line. What about seniors?
I'm sorry, did I miss seniors, Lynette? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Lynette, I missed you. Lynette's turn. Okay, sorry. Thank you very much, Jennifer's. Bring Lynette into the game, into the board.
Lynette, you are
Oh,
in. You can
I'm gonna start
unmute
doing
yourself.
charades.
Sorry, Lynette.
Finally, Lynette.
Hey, Lynette, turn you're muted on video and audio.
There you are. You're still muted.
There we go. How's that?
Perfect.
Great.
All right, wonderful. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Lynette.
Yeah.
I've been tuned in and yeah, a lot of good information.
And waiting
Yeah,
patiently.
lots of good things to cover. Yeah, and as well in the senior center too. So I don't know where you would like me to start.
Let's start off
Beginning.
payroll.
Start off where, Kevin?
With payroll.
With payroll. Okay.
Wages.
So,
If you and Pat McBride and
yeah,
2%.
okay. Yeah, there's just the 2% increase. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Let me go over because I know what
Sure.
they have. Pat McBride and Desmond and Denise Partridge there. Pat McBride is full-time deputy, and then they have drivers that are all on furlough, correct?
Yes.
Who's
Four
Desmond?
drivers.
Desmond is part. Go ahead, Lynette. On Desmond, who's Desmond?
Desmond is our senior specialist. He's a part-time. He's been with our department, I think this is his 3rd year. So he is in college. He's responsible. He takes care of our food program. He assists with all of our food programs. He assists with our newsletter, with the editing of it. He helps us pretty much. He changes his hat like we all do in this department. But he's done a great job for us. So
He's a jack of all trades.
he is. He's a young man and he is really top notch. I couldn't say enough good about actually all my staff, everybody here. So, yeah.
So really, that's about. I mean, that is their whole staff. The senior center is blessed with good people, and seniors are the best volunteers in the world. They probably at their height. How many volunteers are you running out of there? Oh my God, you have a luncheon for volunteers. How many?
Yes.
Yeah, when you're running right.
We estimate for our volunteer luncheon right about 125 people. So
Yeah.
of course they don't, they all volunteer at different levels. But my front office runs on volunteers. So that front desk is really a full-time position, has been on hold because I have a 4-hour volunteer in the morning and a 4-hour volunteer in the afternoon. And due to COVID, of course, we can't have them here. So,
Lynette, can you
Yeah.
talk about that transportation rebate? What is that?
so the transportation rebate, let me get to it here. So transportation rebate is funding that we get through SMART. And also the Wayne County Offices of Nutrition. So we get funding for the Meals on Wheels program, the liquid nutrition program. We get mileage. We get money back in mileage for using our vehicles and our fuel. So it just helps to offset the cost.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
So there's not really much to talk about with any of this because it's all pretty much income. Why don't you tell them about any programs that you guys are currently running?
So as of now, we're running the Meals on Wheels. We oversee the program. I just coordinated with the communications department, and Alicia was out this morning. I asked her if she would get some nice photos with our vehicles and our volunteers that deliver for us. So Alicia came out and she actually interviewed him, and I think we're even going to take it a step further and possibly in the VBT today, the next issue, maybe put an article in with the volunteers who have stayed with us through the COVID. And, you know, they've all got a really interesting story. And she realized that today. She actually went on 2 routes. So she went half a route this morning with one driver, and then another driver picked her up, and she ran another half. So she really got to see our program, how it runs, and she got to meet our drivers a little bit. So yeah, so hopefully we'll be able to put an article in the paper about it, as well as I want the photos to put in our newsletter, which will be going out the last quarter, will be going out the end of September. So we're just finalizing that.
Just so you know,
So
they do their own newsletter, but their own newsletter is covered by their own advertising. So
yes,
it costs us nothing. And since whatever it's Senior Homes or something like that, I can't think of who it is. They're going to pay for it. We're not going to say anything. Let them go.
so yes, the only cost that we take on is the bulk mailing, and it's minimal. It runs somewhere maybe $150 a quarter to send these out, and you know, we reach 1,800 members on average. So this has been a very big part and a very important part during COVID, because at least we are able to connect, let them know that we are still here, that, you know, what we are offering, what we can assist with, as well as we're doing our wellness calls. And the wellness calls have been just overwhelmingly a positive response. I get so many messages from people just appreciating that they got a phone call and that somebody cared about them. So, you know, whether they're just calling me to let me know that, or they're calling back after they received a phone call and we left a message on their answering machine. So it's really been a very positive, a positive program. As well as I've just put together a volunteer, I'm going to call it a volunteer greeting, and this is with my office volunteers only. I know, Kevin, you were aware that I had a group of the class instructors some time ago, months ago. I got them together safely. You know, we did all the safety things we were supposed to. It was very well received. So this Thursday, I've got the office volunteers are going to meet outdoors, and they were elated, every one of them that we called. So as much as I want to let them know, you know, that we haven't forgotten about them and their position is still here at the center, it's just as important as the connection. I just really felt the need. They need to feel connected. They need to see the other people that they used to work with, and that the people that they will see again when this is behind us. So I've got that meeting this Thursday. I've got a meeting on Friday with a couple of our class instructors. I'm going to set it up so that they can safely come in the building, clean out their closets, organize, take home what they need to keep, whatever. Same thing as the gift shop. The gift shop is being cleaned out now. I have someone that's coming in and helping us in boxing up each vendor's items. And then we will call all the vendors and I'll set it up appointment wise to have them pick their goods up in a safe manner.
Trustee Miller? You're on mute, Trustee Miller.
Sorry, I kept hitting it and it wouldn't come off. My question is to the supervisor. How many is it currently that can gather outside? What is the number that can gather outside?
I think the official number is 100. But I mean, any number as long as they're 6 feet apart. And yeah, their instructors are running some of their programs now. She has not gotten to that, and I would have led with it.
I knew it changed though recently, and I'm like, how do we keep up with all the changes, you know, with the state, with limitations on group outings, group meetings?
Yeah, it's up around 100, but I mean, the
Yes.
one still not social distancing.
Okay,
Yeah, the number that will be meeting isn't anywhere near that.
okay.
So,
I thought
Yeah.
it was 25 myself, but it, you know, like I said, it changes all the time.
yes.
I'm not actually positive, but we social distance, and there's never more than 25.
I'm sure they'll be very careful.
Yes. So
Very-
we do have classes that are running. They are not running through the senior center. I have been overseeing and I have been in contact with the instructors and the leaders, but it is all done on their own. But I'm so happy to report that we still have the AFEP, which is an exercise class, very well received. When we were offering it at the center, it was nothing to have 20 people a day attend that class. So the instructor is offering that class out at the park. They're safely exercising. They're having lunch after. They're all bringing their own lunch. They're over at Quirk Park with the pavilion. They each bring their own equipment of whatever it is they need, and very well received. Again, people are able to connect in a safe manner as well as exercise. Tai Chi is offering the same thing. I actually ran into the Tai Chi instructor not long ago in the grocery store, and she is getting new people all the time. And that is mainly through Facebook. Also, I've advertised it in our newsletter and let people know that these things are out there and they're available if they would like to attend. So yeah, that's just been a wonderful thing that we're able to offer. The Bible study class has been meeting. I think they've had 3 meetings now, and that's been very well received. And not long ago, I had a phone call asking me about the group and, you know, when it would be able to get back together. And I was able to tell them that they are meeting. So, even though we're closed, we've got some good things going on. We are going to offer the flu clinic again this year, and I'm in close contact with CVS, and they have given me their guidelines and how they are offering safe flu clinics. And I've talked to seniors, and I've gotten a good response that people would much rather come here and get their flu shot, as they have in the past years, than going like to the drugstore and getting their flu shot. So I'm going to be putting the information in the newsletter with their consent forms. They'll be able to fill their paperwork out ahead of time, bring it in with them, and hopefully a nice seamless process. Yeah, along with that, the MMAP, which is the Medicare Medicaid Assistance Program, and they offer information and assistance for Medicare open enrollment. So open enrollment is going to start October 15th, and I've put that in our newsletter. I have a volunteer and a Van Buren Township resident, very well educated, and she was assisting the Senior Alliance with this program. And she reached out to me, and she would like to work with our center one-on-one just for our people here in Van Buren, and only for the reason that there are many people in our township that need assistance. So she'd like to really focus on the township, and it's really a needed program. There are so many different insurances and, different programs for different people, or insurances, depending if you have high prescriptions, if you see doctors more often. So it just depends on, each person's needs. So I'm excited that we can offer that. And another good one is the Keystone Academy reached out to me, one of the teachers there, and she wants to put a pen pal program together with her class and with seniors. So I'm so excited. She wants to keep the kids in real world life and in writing. And for the seniors, I think it'll be a wonderful thing. They're at home, tucked away, and this will be something that they can feel good about. So I'm going to offer that in our newsletter as well.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So, even though we're closed, we're working on some good things, and we are planning as if we're going to open. And I only say that because I want to be prepared. I want to say that my glass is half full all the time, and you know what? We'll go there and then we'll adjust however we need to. But we are planning our programming for next year, and we're going to be prepared and ready. And if we're able to open, we are, and if not, then we will adjust. But I want to be ready so that when we get the okay, we can hit the floor running. So
Great.
people are excited and they want us to open. Yeah. As everybody.
Anybody have any questions?
Pardon me?
Does anybody have any questions?
Supervisor, I'd just like to compliment Ms. Jordan on, keeping those seniors active and keeping them involved in the community. That's what we need. They need to know that they're not alone and that they're connected to us. So we appreciate your efforts on that greatly.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yep. Well, I've got a great staff. I couldn't do it alone.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Same here, Lynette. I think it's super important to make sure we take care of two groups of people. That's our seniors and the youth that's coming. That's gonna have to take care of, hopefully. So yeah, and with the pandemic, it's very important that we continue to stay connected with the seniors, because it's not only it's a mental issue. I mean, my wife is talking about it all the time. She's talking to people every day. He's breaking down and having psychotic episodes regarding this being alone and not seeing anyone. It's a big thing to deal with, not only with the seniors, but everyone actually.
Everybody.
So yeah.
Oh, Leon, you just
done a good job.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, it's amazing when I can call one of our seniors, and from the beginning of the conversation to the end, it's like night and day. Just having someone to talk to. And like you said, Leon, I mean, COVID, we're not going anywhere, but then you've got the TV media that, people are just, they need some good positive things. So hopefully if we can shed any of that, we are. Yeah.
Question, are you having any classes online? I know before you had estate planning, anything like that for the seniors? I know some of them do Zoom.
And they do. There are different, I get lots of information from different agencies offering different Zoom programs. And those, I will be putting a list of them in the newsletter if I'm able to. And yes, we do have a good group of people that are able to, and many people have learned just recently how to Zoom and use different, different media programs. So yes, we will offer that for people. As for classes, I talked with our communications department, and really we kind of weighed it out, and the effort, the time, the money, the effort that would have to go into it, and what the participation would be, we really just don't feel that, we just feel that there are other avenues and things we can do with our time and money and make it better well spent. So
Sure.
yeah.
Maybe a happy hour. They don't have to drink, but if they do, they're at home. So maybe some kind of social event online, right?
Yes.
Drink.
Absolutely. Right.
Because you feel
Absolutely.
disconnected. I'm happy to see
Yes.
everybody today because you do. You
Yeah.
feel isolated.
Right.
Yeah.
Director Jordan,
Yeah. Yes.
I want to also say that you do an excellent job. And a couple of weeks ago, I received a phone call from, I don't remember her name, but she was doing a well-being check. She called to see how I was doing. And, you know, I don't consider myself a senior until I look at my driver's license and see my birthday.
Right.
But I got a well-being check, and we chatted for a moment, and I felt better. She made me feel good. That was a good feeling.
Oh, well, I'm going to pass that on. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that, Kevin.
So I hope they call in other people other than myself. I'm sure they're calling around town to the people in your
yes.
membership roles, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure they do as well.
That's exactly it. They're just running down, they're starting at the top and running down the list. So don't be
Mhm.
surprised. You may get another call too.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
I didn't receive a call because I'm too young.
Oh,
There you go, Reggie.
that's your story.
And pencil her in
Yeah.
on the list.
There you go. Absolutely.
Thanks.
That's her story, and she's sticking to it. She's too
Lynette, what are you doing about membership? I've had somebody ask me about their membership expired, and what were you doing about the membership as far as paying their dues and stuff? What are you recommending?
My recommendation is that we just overlook 2020 dues. We really were only able to offer, not even 3 months worth of programs.
Mhm.
So my thought is that we just let it go and start everybody fresh when we open. If their dues are still paid up, wonderful. If not, then we'll start them from that day on and get them back enrolled.
No refund for Jennifer Z. Just saying.
No. Nope, I told her today, that's it, you're in.
You're in.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any other questions? I guess that's it then. All right. Thank you very much, Lynette.
Yes.
Oh, you're
thank
very
you.
welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for doing
Have
a
a great
great.
rest of the day. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Okay. I guess that's it. Tell me, am I wrong? Is that it for the day? Assessing and communications, right?
That's everybody that we had covered for today and more, and just
Okay.
board wanted to take another one, we could.
How about, since it's not even 3 yet, how about if we knock out the museum?
Yeah, we've set treasurer and museum together because they're, treasurers
Sure.
the transfer even the museum, but
It won't take no
because-
more than a half hour, tops.
I don't think so. Yeah. You want to do the museum?
Yes,
The museum be one thing. I don't know if the treasurer wants to go or not.
yeah, but
Sure.
we can get through the museum. Thanks, Sherry.
As you can see, we pretty much left it, we reduced some cost for the 2020, but we kind of left it knowing that it'll all go back into her fund balance anyway. And then for 2021, which is the big thing, we've made her salary with a 2% increase, and we've kind of left money in each item because it will be what the board decides to do with the museum. But if it goes ahead and opens it after the first of the year or whatever, her expenses are pretty much what she's spent before. And some of them, like the utilities for heating and that, we'll have to keep those kinds of things up in the building maintenance. And we do have the girl that is there. She's there by appointment. She's still helping people with registrations and that kind of stuff. So we are paying her to do that. And then Tom Fielder, it happens to be a relative of his. He's on the Historical Society. So he's coming in, checking the building and make sure, besides our DPW guys go over and make sure that everything is kosher. So it's pretty much just held there where it is until we decide what we're going to do with it when we can open again.
Frozen in time.
Our shares usually like 60,000. Are we still around that area?
Yep. I mean, we will still send out the donations from the communities to get, and I'm sure that, you know, that will probably stay the same because they all realize that the building is there and it's best that if the building is being taken care of. So I can't believe that they won't, you know, pay
Right.
the fee when we send them out. Yeah.
All right. It's just frozen right now.
Yep. It's just kind of frozen. Katie
To be thawed later.
Katie has been furloughed, so she's, you know, not there, but we do have somebody in the building and she helps with people that want to come in and do research because of all the family histories and that kind of stuff that is there. So she's helping with that kind of stuff. Yep.
All right. That was good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Other than that, it's pretty much what it is.
I guess I'm gonna call it a day. So what time tomorrow are we back, Dan? 8?
We have public services in the morning. I believe they begin at 8:55.
8:50?
All right. We'll see everyone then.
Okay, see you guys tomorrow at 8:55, all right?
Okay,
Yep.
All righty.
sounds good.
Everybody.
Have a good evening.
8:55.
Oh,
Bye.
do we have anyone for the public? Because we're closing, I know you're gonna go into recess till the
Yeah,
morning.
we need to have public comment.
That's fine.
Any
Uh,
public comment?
Public, anybody from the public? Is there even anybody out there on this? This time?
At the moment, there are no virtual hands raised.
That's what I thought. Okay. All right.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Actually,
Support.
Actually, it's not. It's just a recess until the following day.
Oh, okay.
Oh, all right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.